Hello there, Outliers. Niiamah and Sean here, and thank you so very much for letting us be a part of your journey here today. We are in on this roundtable. You got a one-on-one roundtable happening here, and with that, it is none other than Baiba Wisse. Baiba, I'm so glad that you're here today. Your energy is contagious. I know that you're like you bring a like you're vivacious. I think that's the word I want to look for. You're vivacious, and I'm really excited to see how you leverage that to the benefit of you and your clients. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, so good to be here with you and everybody listening. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, thanks for being putting yourself in a place where we could find you. I want to make sure that outliers get a chance to get to know you. So, would you mind letting us know more about you and the game you're currently playing?
Yes, it's funny. I was prepared, a little bit prepared for that question.
Yeah, you know
But
it.
the
Like
game
it's
I'm
yeah,
playing is the game of life. I think it's a game that all of us are playing, right? To the best of our ability. And a little bit of my kind of concentrated focus has been really on that work and career path. And I've been a little bit obsessed with chasing purpose and how do you create purposeful, authentic work, and kind of your own unique puzzle together because it is so unique to each one of us that, you can listen all day long to what others are doing or how they're doing it, but that doesn't mean that it's the right way for you. So this is kind of has been my passion. So I have a podcast called Career in Technicolor, where my intention is to help others to design their own dream job and fall in love with Mondays instead of, living a Groundhog Day black and white existence.
yeah. Oh, that's cool. What I get about it's really cool because I just experienced you transferring energy, right? And what I got there was even when you talked about the black and white existence, like I felt the energy like dissipate. Right. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate that here. And allies, part of the reason why I'm calling this out here is that, like, sometimes we don't recognize that, like, it's not just what we say, but how we say it that really comes through. And I'm like, oh, I'm enrolled in you, Baiba. But at the same time, like, you know how to, like, yeah, it was really cool that you played with that in that way. It's an awesome game that you're playing.
That's amazing, so you're very perceptive because I think we can get so caught up in this 3D in our mind, the busyness of the mind, but I think there's so much that we don't see and so much that plays out in our overall energy that we bring and kind of this beauty and magic of life is
Yeah.
deeper.
Well, I want to play in that. I think that you're talking about energy. We're talking about life here. Um, I know that, like, so what's playing out for me is I feel like with some of the work that you do, it really is all around, like, how do you manage energy? How do you tap into energy and beyond? So do you mind speaking to that as well? Because I want that to be a part of our conversation if you're cool with it.
Beautiful. I appreciate your generosity. So, a part of my own dream job, and I will be very upfront, I'm still in the middle of designing it. I don't know that we are ever there, that we ever arrive in this life. But a big focus of what I've come to do, in addition to the podcast and career things, is Tai Chi and Qigong, which is a set of kind of an inner martial art and a set of movements where you move your body. And while you move your body, you're also moving your energy. So we have a lot of stress and daily worries, heartaches, sadness, all these disappointments that we over years accumulate in our own bodies and in our energy system. So I just love how these movements, they've helped me and how they can support others, in releasing the stresses, in releasing these things, and kind of letting more vitality and letting more energy and joy and happiness ultimately flow through.
You're so fun for me, Baba, because like you have these different things going on, and yet at the same time you found ways to, like, bring them together, right? You, like, talking about the energy, talking about the vitality, talking about, like the purpose in work. And like when I used to work in human capital, or most people call it human resources, but I've actually never worked for an HR team. I just did human capital, and I did from a consultant perspective, and then the people team at a tech company. And like to me, those are different things. And so the question I have for you here is like, as you go through and like where would you say you would find like the crossover between like the vitality and the like of and the energy management that comes from the inner martial arts that you teach and like the career path, like living a career in Technicolor? Like where would you see like the overlapping from and how might they align?
Yeah, I think it's like our own life and any area of our life, including work, business, or career, working for somebody. It's like this ultimate alchemy. So I don't know if it's overlapping, but it somehow comes together in very unique ways. So it's so interesting you say human capital because I can very much relate to aspects of it because I was working in corporate talent acquisition for 15 years, which is considered a subset of HR. And so how it all came together is it's selfishly through my own journey, through my own seeking, through my own looking for answers, kind of doing. I mean, I've done all the personality tests. I've studied some of the deeper personality and psyche aspects, how you can help people and how I can use it for myself, for it to all come together. And that's how actually I came to Tai Chi because there was a part of me that was when I was in the corporate and doing talent acquisition, I was sitting for 8 to 10 hours a day. And then after 40, your body says, okay, this is not going to work so well. So, I started developing different random aches and pains and, you clean a bathtub and then you no longer can get up or walk for 2 weeks. You're like, okay, something has to change.
Yeah, like I really appreciate that you bring that in there because I feel like they're like what I'm hearing is that like I don't know. I find that as a leader, there's different stages along the way that we look at, and so like at first we start talking about like productivity and different productivity like management. But then the more and more I play in this game and the way I play with different outliers, different trailblazers, and people who actually have to lead other people, it keeps coming back to like energy management, right? And like both physical and like emotional and nervous system. Right, the nervous
Mm.
system capacity for what the day brings, for how they're managing different elements of both life and business. Like, can you speak to that? I'm gonna go in a bit. I'm gonna dive more into your specific journey, but I just think that like. I don't know. I think there's something about the fact that you have like the corporate side of you, but you also have like the Tai Chi and Qigong kind of like stuff there that I think like I just haven't met anyone that's playing like walking both paths. And so I'm really curious about how like yeah, I just want to explore it all.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's a very famous saying, right? When you can have hundreds of problems, but when you don't have your health, you only have one problem. Which is then like the most important, the foundation that your life, whatever you want to talk, productivity, all of these are like very distracting kind of surface level things that I think that if you've ever been in a situation that you've gone through your own health challenge, and unfortunately, most of the time, this is what we need, is when we get brought to our knees, then we will start looking seriously and adopting and changing some of our patterns. Because I mean, honestly, like in your 20s and 30s, you can get through on coffee and cortisol and running your nervous system down, right? And empty. But at some point in time, you just get exhausted. And I got so exhausted, so tired that I didn't have a life. I didn't have energy to go on to dinner after work. I didn't have energy. Like on Saturday and Sunday, I was recovering. I just felt like all I had energy for was work. And then I was kind of like, existing.
So this now dive into your world, right? Because I
Mhm.
think I think there's something really profound in what you're saying there. Like honestly, if I'm being really real with you, like there's a part of me that recognized that too much for myself. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I have two young kids, so when I think
Mm.
about like having the energy and the vitality to be with them, like
Mm.
like when I'm working, but when I'm with them, I'm like I want to give a lot, you know.
Mhm.
And so that really just speaks to me and slows things down for me here.
And that resonates with me because I had, like, right now my son is 16, but
Mhm.
when he was younger, I felt guilty. I felt like, oh my God. So right now I don't have like a lot of energy to be actually mentally and emotionally present. I just felt like after the full day of work, I was kind of like frustrated. I was impatient. I was also irritated, because like I just felt like that Groundhog Day. This is why the career in Technicolor, because I think at the end of the day, we start to realize we came to this planet that we want to feel alive. We don't want to feel like just crossing off days, going through motions in this mad rush, like a robot. That's what I felt like many days. Yeah.
I'm taking some time even as you're speaking, Baiba, this it's giving me an opportunity to just check in with my own energy, check and see like in what ways am I showing up like robot like or like just getting through, rather than slowing down, seeing what's here and having the energy for that.
Yeah.
Um, so I appreciate this, and it's cool to see like how you're blending different areas and how you made your world work for the work that you do. I want to dive into more about you as an outlier and like in a bit of your edge right now, and like your outlierness is showing through, but I want to see like how you navigated being the outlier, right?
Mm.
And so the question that's coming from me right now is you spent 15 years in talent acquisition, and then you moved off to do something like to build out skills that were very like different, you know and you did it. I don't know when the timing of it, but you have like a 16-year-old now, so what that tells me is that like there were people depending on you, things were out here, and people probably knew you as like this professional in this one world here. Tell me about like the transition and how you navigated that transition to be like to show up in the world as you are right now, as fully
Mm.
and as unapologetically as you do.
It's still a process. I will be honest with you. It's still a very much, I think actually it's interesting about the timing of this is that I actually only recently updated my LinkedIn to have the Tai Chi there, and kind of to start telling the story. Like I had the podcast there, but every step of coming out in a way because talent acquisition is LinkedIn, right? It's not like other jobs where you're like applying and your boss might never see what you do on LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn and social media is so just goes hand in hand with talent acquisition. So it's been years of a lot of turmoil, messiness, like a lot of internal drama of this whole thing. Like is this completely out there and stupid? Like, or should I just, there's this kind of this pull of doing it quietly, and like waiting till you're successful. But then it's a catch-22 because it's like you're the best kept secret. And then how will you grow? But it's been a journey,
Yeah,
you know?
that like I have that conversation often with my clients here where they're like, I have something I'm deeply skilled. This is what I've been doing,
Mhm.
but I don't know want anyone to know. I don't want John to know. Like it
Yeah,
typically comes down to like one or two people in the
yeah.
organization that come up, and something that's been showing up recently in the conversation I've been having with them. It's like I'll put it this way. I'll tell a little bit here. When I was getting into things, my parents were like, "Hey, you got to keep your business on your side on the side because if anything goes wrong, your organization is going to blame it on the business, right?" And I took that to heart, you know, uh, and I realized it took me several years after I left for me to really get it. I was like, "Oh, this whole thing was predicated on fear." It was like if something goes wrong, then the business is gonna go like look at that and say, "Hey, why were you doing this?" And so I decided to play it safe. What I could have done though, and it's where I lean in with my clients now, is like make it be the like go beyond, show like don't make your work suffer because you're here. Let your work grow because you have this here. Let people ask you what's your secret. You're like, oh well, my secret is that I'm also doing sales calls, I'm also leading different sessions, I'm also I'm constantly building my thought leadership out in the world such that they see the two of those things like leading together rather than having to be two different things. So that like you're taking me to that right now in this moment here where it's like not having to be one or the other. I want to ask another question before I get to that, but I want to just check in with you. Is there anything that like is coming to you? Anything you want to say on that before I move on here? Especially I'm gonna stay on the LinkedIn stuff though for a bit.
I totally understand. I can relate. It's kind of like this journey of putting one foot in front of the other, and it takes tremendous courage because, like you said, it's not even one or two people. All my previous bosses, all any potential clients, in talent acquisition, if I ever decide, because again, I don't really approach life as conclusive. I'm not saying that I will never work in talent acquisition ever again. Uh, but it's funny. There's another lady who I interviewed, and she also has a podcast about career flipping, and she literally said that somebody told her it's career suicide, which it can be, but then what at least this is what I tell myself. This is what has helped me to bring clarity, and this goes back to the energy management because like as I also I'm a deeply spiritual person, and I've been on kind of this journey of meditation and self-reflection for years. But it's kind of like with each year, I think we get a new level of depth and clarity. And, other people in this world will try to make their problems yours. And you have to have tremendous clarity, pull your own energy back, and kind of like this is where you can shine, is when you are in your energy and leaving all the mess behind. Because everybody has opinions and it's loud out there. If you've read Four Agreements by Miguel Ruiz, I think, the mitote, the marketplace that he talks about, it's loud and it wants to take up space in your head.
This is yeah, as you were saying that really hit me. That really hit me a lot because it's one of the reasons why I talked Outliers and Trailblazers because like we're doing things that make perfect sense to us. They're actually in alignment. They make perfect sense in that regard. But like to other people, it's just not the actual reality. And so like I have a like my children just came in here, so you're gonna hear some like awesome like loveliness in the background here. And I like there was a part of me that like if you don't mind, like and I keep all this stuff in the conversation, but
Yeah.
I love this like the realness of this, right? Where it's like in the past I'm like wait hold on what it like the past part of me would have had to stop do all this other stuff here, and I really like oh I got a chance right now to be in the space of seeing oh, by the way, I'm also father now, like that is also who I am. And so uh,
Yeah.
it's cool. I have to leave that, whatever my earlier thought was. I'll just have to leave that where it was. Outliers, I'm sorry, there would have been something awesome that came of it, but this is this is where I'm right now. But I think that I think there's something really real about letting people know who you actually are, right? And from what I'm hearing, it's like you're like, hey, look, like adding it to LinkedIn, like it's like you haven't changed, but now you're letting people know who you are like more fully. And this, I really respect you for that. I really respect you for that because yeah, it's like two words that could change everything.
Mhm.
All right. It's like Tai Chi. It's like and now it's like, but what is this all about?
Mhm. You
But on
are
the
not
other
curious. You are not like, what the heck are you doing? Like, are you throwing away everything you built?
and it's so interesting because it's like you had just said like people put their I forget your exact words on it, but I'll tell you what I heard. Like people put their problems on you, like the problems that they think that they would that the thing that keep them on you. The first time I really remember this was being in a room full of coaches and we were going around talking about like where our money blocks were and what our money issues were. And someone next to me was like the coach came to her and said, "So what's your like you've been quiet. Like what do you want to say?" She's like, "Actually, I don't really align with this conversation at all. Like I don't have money issues. Like if I want money, I'll just go create it." And I remember sitting next to her and I was like, I had never actually before coming into these kinds of spaces considered myself someone who was like had money blocks or any like money issues. Like, is that actually my problem, or did I just adopt it because
Mhm.
other people said this is the kind of problem to have? Right?
Yeah.
What's coming to you as I say that? I can see like you're lighting up, so I want to just like give space to you.
I mean, so many things, but I'm trying to listen and stay present for what
Yeah.
you're saying because I'm resonating with so many things. And, there was a time and space where I was like really into this belief work and but I find it very cognitive
Mm.
and very mind-based. And it's kind of interesting. This is part of the reason why I'm doing Tai Chi and Qigong. I feel like we need to get out of our minds, like in the best of ways, because part of our problems is that we live here and our body, like we were not designed to just run on our brain and it's now fuming, right? It's causing anxiety, it's causing so much worry, nervousness, overthinking because we're not balancing. Our body was designed to move. And like even all these belief exercises, honestly, it's gonna be a hot take, but I don't subscribe to them anymore because it's all
Yeah.
cognitive and it's like more noise. If it works for you, that's great. But I say be cautious to adopt new beliefs. Be cautious to start taking in more stuff. I say take a step back and listen to your own being. Listen to your essence. And some that does take time, but this is where moving my body in those gentle ways and the beautiful energy that it starts to move, you start to get more clarity. It's not perfect. I make mistakes. I stress over, I overthink, and but like there was just something that happened today where I was negotiating something and I had the clarity I cannot do something at the price where a client wanted me to keep doing it. It just was not financially viable for me, that it just would not sustain me. And you can run on enthusiasm for only so long. And I just said, look, I can't do this. Like, this is what I can do. And they came back and said no. And I'm like, great, let me know if I can be of help in the future. Thank you very much. It's been great working with you. And then they come back with like follow-up questions where they were totally starting to make their job my job. So this is kind of like this clarity. Like when you start, even with this LinkedIn conversation, I've spent hours, days, probably together. I don't know how much time I've spent over the last 3, 4 years obsessing about posting about my podcast, posting about this. And then I thought, oh my God, this is my life force. Are you serious? None of these people are paying my bills. And none of them are like this is using up my life force. So it's like, I think this life you also get like clarity and next level of clarity at certain points of time, but you kind of need to make the space for the clarity to come. Yeah. So I'm not perfect, but Tai Chi and Qigong are helping me, little by little.
So, Baiba, I'm purposely not saying anything when you get done because the this podcast is actually designed not just for the conversation but for the experience, right? And so you said a couple times like listen to your body. It's here for this space. And so given that, I'm like, oh, right now we can talk about it as an idea, or we can create it in this experience right now. We can create an opportunity, and outliers, privileges listening to this. I'm talking to you now directly. Hit pause and just listen to your body for a bit. What is it telling you? Right? See what's in there, and then when you get done, unpause it and continue on with this conversation. Like there's things in what Bible like what I'm hearing is like there's wisdom in what you said, and what I'm also picking up on is like good intention fear by other people being put on you. You know,
Mhm.
like the more and more you talk, the more and more I'm like, but how could this work if it doesn't say Tai Chi? Because it is you, like it is like the whole conversation, like I can go in a certain direction, but I
Yeah.
can hear how much of it is principled, is rooted in the practices that you do and how that shapes the way that you see your world. I feel you so much, by the way, because I went from like actuarial consultant to like working in tech to becoming a coach, and people were like, "Oh, like a life coach," and like I had people that were like, "Oh, it looks like you exited the game." Okay, and like you had said earlier. oh, when I'm successful, I'll go back. And when you said that, Bible, like my body went with that because I get that. I get that. I'm going to be having a reunion with several of the people that I went to that I used to work with later on this year. And I found myself like thinking oftentimes like, well, I left the career path. Like they've all been it for the last 10 years. I left that career path. Like, what do I have to show for it? Like, at what point is it worth it? Like how do I help them know that like I didn't go off the deep end with this, you know? And so I want to say thank you for voicing like what it's like to really be an outlier. It's something you can read on a bumper sticker and it can say something, but they don't tell you about like, hey, you might add two words to your thing. You might add the word coach to yours or podcast host, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, is this person serious? Like what are they
Mhm.
doing? And we
Mhm.
have to go through that journey. Like I'm just really grateful that you brought that in here and you really like shone a lot of light on some of the aspects of really going down the outlier path.
But you are a whole person, and it takes a level, and you facilitating the conversation so beautifully, and the coaching, and business development, and marketing, and social media. I mean, these are all skills that, I saw a beautiful, I think, post. It was on LinkedIn that somebody said essentially, when you work for somebody, you are outsourcing your sales and marketing. And when you start working for yourself, it's at least 50% of the job, which is so uncomfortable. So, and it ties into our conversation about LinkedIn beautifully, because when I'm thinking, if I go back for talent acquisition, then who would I want to work for, right? It would be a person who has real lived experience. It's not some kind of conceited person who doesn't see your value and who never has had life happen to them and who would actually appreciate how beautifully, all of these skills and how you've added to what you bring to the table, the depth. I mean, it's a whole new level.
But like, I love this year. I love this year because this is allies. Part of the reason why I'm staying with this conversation is it's like because there's a big trap out there. There's a big trap out there that says, and I think we as outliers really feel it, where it says you're supposed to look like this, where you're supposed to come across this way, and then just be the best of the people who do it, right? And that's how you're able to gain success. And for
Mhm,
us outliers and trailblazers, it's just not our path, you know?
mhm.
Like I used to say, why be the best when you can be different? Why be the best when you be different? Large part of me agrees with that. And I also recognize that like they are, it's not either or. Like there's something,
Exactly.
there's an element of both of those things can be combined. There's
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Bible. What are you feeling with this?
I love that. I mean,
Yeah.
it comes back to also the question you asked at the very beginning. You have to get clear, and there's no right or wrong time, and there's a time to work in corporate, right? There's everybody has their own model, and it can be great. I've had some good years in corporate, so and it provided a lot of value, and so there is this game which is that you asked what game am I playing, so I am trying to play my own game, right? So I think everybody listening can just reflect and think right now, right? What is a game, because you can get caught up even in the business, in running your own business, coaching, whatever it is, you can get caught up, right? Everybody will tell you what their model is. Like, there's so much noise. Insert this funnel, do this, do that. Like, there's also a lot of noise. So I think the invitation is just like, I think all of us are really on this path to trying to play the game of our own life on our own terms. So it's our own game, step by step, a little bit more and more on our own terms.
It's wild to me, Bible, as you say this here, because, and we're going to start wrapping up here, but I got to say this because in a very real way, you like have articulated my soul. All right.
Wow.
And like I have a couple different like how do I say it? Visual elements of my brand from outlier and trailblazer, which gets you kind of like thinking going through the wilderness, so on and so forth, right? To like the fact that I'm constantly like, you want to play? Can I play? Can I play with that? You know, what game you playing? Right. So I have like these two things that like both like even within my own brand like live together.
Mhm.
And I had just got off a conversation with someone, and I said, like I want to know your heart. Why, like I was going to bring on a new offering, right? And it was like some done for you services, and people were like, but like you're a coach, like why aren't you just doing that? And I realized I'm like I can't speak this in the world of coach because it's not. It's not it. Like I'm not a coach. I coach, but I'm not a coach. Right? And they're two different things. And I realized I'm like, my soul's on this planet to play. And like, and the thing here is that like I realize that there are a lot of players out there who can't even enter the game because like they're like they either can't enter the game because they don't know, or like when they do play the game, they're playing it without the two most important words on their LinkedIn profile, so we actually know who they are, you know, or they're playing it and they haven't figured out a way to be able to stay in the game. And I recognize I'm like all the things I do really it's just about playing this game. And I want as many people as possible to be able to play. And I want them to be able to stay in for as long as possible because my soul is here to play. And if people aren't playing, then I can't do it.
Mhm.
All this to be said here, like, thank you, by the way. Like it's flowing out of me. But I want to just say, I appreciate you because that the way that you articulated this like really speaks to the nature behind what I do. And it's hard to get a reflection of it, you know, especially as we're walking down this path on our own. It's like I don't know where I'm going. I just know that this is the path that I have to take. And I wish that someone can come and tell me, like, hey, by the way, the path that you're doing is called Route 78, you know, like that'd be so easy, you know, like I'm like, oh, okay, great. Like that's it. But like right now, I just kind of have to just keep taking, like, as you said, one foot in front of the other. And I wanted to say, by the way, like your reflection really hit me there.
Mm. Thank you, thank you. And it's been a lovely conversation. And I would say if you resonate, if this speaks to your heart, just give yourself some slack, like release some of this kind of the need, the release some of the stress, the release some of the striving, right? And just relax a little bit. I think we're sometimes trying too hard. And this
Oh,
world will tell us, go after your goals, make it happen, force it, right? And this goes back to the nervous system and everything, is that and Tai Chi and Qigong teaches balance. Like you cannot be in summer and in on all day long, all year long. It's just you're gonna run yourself down and you will get more and more confused. So you need to give yourself the time to replenish, to recharge, and bring kind of that wisdom of the nature also into your own life.
it's so funny you say that, Bible, because I'm like actively fighting that one. I'm like, I lived in the East Coast of the US and I moved to Singapore. I was like, you can do summer all around. You can really do it. But I think that I think I'm living the truth of what you're saying right now. I'm like, it's time for some fall. It's time for some time to like get some harvest. It's time to let some things fall off here in the internal winter. So, Bible, like you've been really generous with your story, with your time, with the way that you see the world, and I'm glad that you're walking the path that you're walking. Outliers, trailblazers. If there's anyone in your world who you believe would benefit from hearing the conversation that Bible and I have been having, my ask that you share this with them with intention. Not like go, you can feel free to share this overall on any of your social platforms. We'd be grateful for it. But like the thing that would really move the needle is for you to think of one person in your world who would really benefit from hearing this conversation. Someone in your world who's been hesitating on hitting enter on two words on their LinkedIn profile, who would be able to like listen to this conversation and have their entire world change. If you, I think that's where the impact really is going to be in this thing. Like if the right person consistently gets these episodes, this episode in particular, then our work here is done. All right. So my ask is that we call it the one person, one conversation at a time initiative. Join us in that, and send this episode to the one person who is really going to make the big difference to him. And it mean the work to us. Right. So Bible, I'm going to end our conversation. I like to end our conversation with two elements. One, um, please share with us how I'd like for you to share with us how outliers can go deeper down the journey with you. And I'm going to tell you about the second part in just a bit, but I want to ask you this one part first. In probably two stages. That's why I'm thinking about it in real time. You talked earlier about like a cognitive element, a way that we're processing things in a very cognitive way. And I would really hope to like, I feel like you have tools that go beyond like what I can typically deliver through the podcast. And so I would hope that if you're able to, can you let outliers know how they can go deeper down the journey with you, and also like how they can get their hands on, or maybe not like have an experience of a non-cognitive way to get out of their heads and to actually experience some of what we were just talking about?
Oh, I'd love to. Yes, come play with me. I'm on all socials like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube under Reignite Your Vitality. And that's where I share the Tai Chi and Qigong and the energy and kind of the getting out of your mind and into your body movements and what they do for you, because so much of it is also educating what's happening as you're doing them and what you're moving, what, how it can help. And then I share a little more of my own, like this dilemma with LinkedIn and the messy middle of my story on my podcast called Career and Technicolor Podcast.
Fantastic. And now the last question for today will be about you, right? So right now, let's put all the outliers and trailblazers to the side. This one here is just for you. Like the only reason to have a conversation is for it to change someone's life. And so I'm curious for you, Baiba, like uh, what's been your biggest insight or takeaway from this conversation that you had? And feel free to take some time to think about it. If you don't have an insight or takeaway from here, that's also fine. You can just say that and we'll wrap up. But I want to make sure that I like to give people a chance to be able to comment or to thinking on that. So what's been your biggest insight today, if anything?
The connection and kind of how you reflected and shared what's going on and what's so real also in your life. So that's the most valuable thing. This is why I do the podcast. This is um, the way that I love connecting with people.
Well, thank you for connecting with us. Thank you for bringing all of you to this place and letting us be able to like see ourselves through those two words and like the the realness behind choosing to live a life so fully in alignment with you. All right, outliers. Until the next time we talk, remember to be you on purpose. Journey on.